Good afternoon. This is Ron. Thank you for attending. Okay, so let's take a look at what's new in this new version of the program. As you know, George and Matt released this over the weekend, and there is a help file. If you go to the What's New, it's going to show you what is in this program. Now, a customer requested what's called the least square moving average, and you can see that there is an illustration here or a chart, and what it does is Matt told me it's more responsive than the average moving average. So I haven't implemented this yet, but I'm thinking maybe a good use for this would be in some of the analysis of HGSI indexes, the indexes that are created when we do our updating. So I'm not going to spend any time on that. All of these warehouse views and filters, these are things that I requested, and Matt and George put them in for me. Well, I didn't request all of these. I requested most of these. For example, the days since the crossover on the 3 and 6, 1850, and 100. These all have a specific purpose for the type of trading that I'm now doing. My method of trading, for those of you who have taken my webinars, you know that I am doing something which is called IR, or impulse reaction. I'm avoiding the impulse generally, or the move up, and then looking for reaction or consolidation periods, and that is the best time to get into a stock. The thing about trends is once they start, they have a tendency to continue, and this style of trading or investing is essentially based upon that, and I'll get into that as we go through this hour. I also requested these consolidation patterns, and there are examples right here. There's the thing is, when you apply these filters, very few stocks will appear. There just are not that many of them that appear each day. But these are based upon mathematical formulas, and there are consolidation patterns. We're looking for stocks that are potentially breaking out very shortly, and I'll go over these a little bit. Like I said, you won't get very many candidates, but it's something that you should look at, because when these stocks are squeezing together, when they're coming together like this, they're going to break one way or the other. And it's easy to control risk with these because you know where your stop's going to be. For example, on this 4-bar power pennant long over here, this example, and this is from a chart. I just took it out of HGSI. If it breaks through the downtrend line, your stop is just below this candle right here, so you're risking very little money. And it's all about not risking too much money. I am extremely focused upon risk control anymore. I didn't used to be, but it's the thing that really makes it much easier to succeed in the market if you control your risk. The reason that it's so powerful is that if you know your risk when you're going into a trade, you're going to be much more relaxed than if you just put a trade on and you pay attention to every little squiggle in the market, and you get panicked out of trades. So risk control is extremely important. Now this fan, Matt put this in for me. He coded it in, and what I'm looking for here are stocks that are trending, and then when they consolidate or contract, that is the place where you have a relatively safe entry with very low risk. I should have blown this up a little bit, but I think you can see it. Notice the expansion. Here's the contraction. Your short would be just below this bar right here, and your risk would be right above it. Okay, moving on down to the next one. Since we've been in a bull market, this is the method which we've primarily been focusing on, those of you who have done the webinars. And most people are doing fine, making money using this, but it's been a really choppy market lately, as you know, so you have to be extremely selective in your trades. But once again, this is just the reverse. This fan, when all of these are stacked in the correct sequence, and we'll look at several of these live. Here's the 200, the 100, the 50, and the 18. When these are all in the correct order, this filter will alert you to a stock that is above the fan. And what I've done with my files this month is I'm requiring that a VPA flag be generated at the same time. And I'll get into that and show that to you. Now, some other things that have been added, percent close to the 30-day weekly moving average, percent close to the 150, some other moving averages, and some dollar volume indicators. Zacks has been added to the more info from the web, and one very useful feature that I skipped over up here, if I can find it right here, the quick add to group. You can now use the alternate G keys rather than clicking on a chart of the warehouse and going over. You have to go down a couple of levels or down a level to quick add to group. You don't have to do that anymore. Once you're in a group, just click on the alternate G keys and it will be added to the most recent group. Okay, let me show you a couple other things that I'm doing, and this is something that I just decided to do recently. Under preferences, we have global index options, and we have several choices. We have market value, average price, price weighted, and equal dollar weighted. We've always used equal dollar weighted, but what I'm going to do is change to market value weighted. There's a couple of reasons for this, and I'm going to show you what they are right now. This is a chart from today using equal dollar weighted in the all NASDAQ index. Here is one from the all securities index. When we use equal dollar weighting, if there's a few stocks in there that are messed up, it screws up these charts, and I don't like that. I use these charts for market analysis. So by switching to market value weighted, that eliminates that problem. So going forward, and this is the experimental, everything I do is subject to change. You have to realize that. But since I'm not doing the daily reports anymore, I'm experimenting with this, and I'm going to be using these settings. I'm going to use market value or market cap weighted, and I am using 104 weeks because I like to see a group line for 2 years rather than 1 year. So if you want to make those changes and experiment with that, that would be, it's up to you, but that's what I'm doing, and I'm just keeping you on top of what I'm doing. Now, I'm going into the W&B user groups, and I think George is just going to change that to Ron Brown, since unfortunately Ian is no longer with us, and it's my responsibility to maintain these groups. But let's just go down to the broad market indices now, and I'm going to click through to the warehouse, and I need to go to my latest files are right here, and under top-down process views, under the top-down process, oh, what am I doing? I am lost. I need to bring up a chart. Sorry about that. Okay, let's okay, the top-down views, and now notice under the index chart right here. So these are my latest files, and these are the charts that I use to look at the market. Now these have been indexed with equal or market cap weighting. So let me now go back to this view and okay, I want to get up here, and I'm a little bit slow today. That's what happens when you get up at 4 in the morning. Okay, I'm just going to use my top-down view here. So using this, I'm going to locate the all NASDAQ, and I showed you a picture of that. And this is what it looks like now with market cap weighting. So let's just run through these very quickly. If you go into your charts, the top-down charts, and you use the HGSI index charts, this is for any index which is created with HGSI. And I go through these daily, and what I'm looking for are evidence. I'm looking for evidence of accumulation or distribution. On this particular chart, if the green line is above the red line, this represents A, accumulation, this represents E, distribution. And you can see in this one here, this is A and B plus D and E. So in the all NASDAQ, I'm still seeing signs of accumulation. Now if I go to some other index, I'm not necessarily going to see that. But this is why I need a clean chart which doesn't have those breaks in it, and that's why I'm switching over to market cap. Now let's go down to this one. This is another accumulation distribution, but this one happens to have all 5 levels of accumulation distribution. And with the NASDAQ, you can see that the C and the B are coming down. We're getting some D and E moving up here. So now when I look at it from this perspective, I'm seeing a little bit of distribution, but not much. So this is still a relatively healthy index at this point. Now this is Friday's data. This is a chart which gives a different perspective on this. This tells us the percentage of stocks that are above their 20-day moving average, their 30-day moving average, their 50-day moving average, and their 200-day moving average. Now, looking at this, what can we see? We can see that there has been some deterioration within the all NASDAQ. So just a little, it's a different way to look at it. Now, this is a chart I put together many years ago when Ian and I were doing workshops together, and I called it my potential buy-sell, because when back then I was making heavy use out of the force indexes. When the force indexes both went positive in here, and I had a 5-to-1 day on advancing issues versus declining issues, and also on the volume, that would generate a buy signal. When you have the lighter green ones, that is also a buy signal, but it's not nearly as powerful as this. And if you follow this line down here, you can see that these were generated coming right off of here. I'm also in this chart using the 18, the 50, the 100, and the 200-day exponential moving averages. And I am using those for my long-term charts. If everything is stacked, if the fan is in order, it dipped down here, the 18 went below the 50, and then it went back up through. That suggests to me that a long-term trend is in place. So that's how I'm using the fan. And then I have one more in here. This is a chart which shows me the actual internals of that day. And this was Friday. So on Friday, the NASDAQ had 60% advancers, 34% decliners. Here's the number of new highs, new lows, and so on. A lot of information in these charts. So that is why I am switching over to market cap weighting. I think it gives us a better feel for what the institutions are doing because these tend to be, well, they're going to be led by the higher market cap stocks. That's all there is to it. Whereas with the equal dollar weighted stocks, every stock that you purchase that's indexed or every stock that's indexed gets equal weighting. So that is why I am moving over to market cap weighting. Now, like I said, it's not set in stone, but I think it's going to give me a better feel for what's going on, or give us a better feel for what's going on with the market. Now, in this view, let me bring this up here. These are in my top-down process views. This is one that I look at first. I use a combo called Strong Trends Up, and you can see where the strength is or was as of Friday, and this held true today. There was a lot of strength in the materials group, and the defensive stocks are clear down here at the bottom. Healthcare is down here at the bottom also. Let me just bring this healthcare up and show you what it looks like compared to the NASDAQ. Now this also is with market cap weighting, and if you go up here and look, you can see that only 40% of the stocks in the index were advancing on Friday. Here's the actual number right here. So you get a lot of insight by using these charts. I don't know how many of you do use them, but I really take a hard look at these every day because it gives me, it allows me to make my own decision about what the market's doing. I mean, everybody's got an opinion, you know that. So just you look in here, or I look in here, and it's just a lot easier for me to determine where the strength and weakness is. I use this view, and I also use the number 2 view, and I sort on the advancing issues versus declining. Now on Friday, you can see that the semiconductors had 26 advancers and 4 decliners. But if I sort on what we call the raw combo, this is a combo. It's for those of you who may not know, it's made up of fields in HGSI, and you can weight them according to what you want. And I put heavy emphasis on the force indexes because that's price and volume. Everything I look at now is primarily based upon price and volume, support and resistance, and so on. I use very few indicators. But if by sorting on this demand combo, it shows me where the demand was in the indexes. Now the industry groups come to the top. This is all of the industry groups, but look what's number 2 based upon demand. It's materials. And like I said, that followed through once again today. So anyway, I think that's enough of that. I just wanted to, maybe I spent a little too much time on that, but remember that when you change that market weighting, if you do, it only affects the HGSI indexes. That's all. It won't affect anything else. Now, let's do something very quickly here. I have updated my Let me check this to make sure. Okay, my intraday has been on. Okay, so what I'm going to do, and this is something you should do every day, intraday, if you follow the intraday. Now you may not, but what I like to do is either click on the industry groups or select these broad market indices, because everything is contained in there. And if you keep your intraday information updated, and then you go to rebuild indexes in group, what this is going to do, it's going to take the intraday data, the last intraday data, and this will be end of day at this point because it's delayed 15 minutes, and I can go in here and rebuild these indexes that are in my broad market indices folder. The reason I'm doing this is I want to see what happened today. Now, the market's closed, as you all realize, but you can do this at any point during the day, and it's going to show you what's happening based upon a 15-minute delay in prices. Here, let me see. I haven't looked at the questions yet. While this is doing this, I'm having trouble getting this window open. George, what am I doing wrong here? Somebody says, why didn't I receive the new PDF? Well, just go in under your menu. It's there. That's where I got it. I'll show you in a minute here as soon as this finishes. It takes a a couple of minutes to do this, depending on what you're doing. You can see it's updating all of the industry groups right now. Okay, so that's finished. So what do we have now? We now have a current look at what happened to the market today. And using the strong trends up filter, I mentioned that materials were very strong on Friday. Well, this shows the latest date now is 123 because I just went in and rebuilt those indexes. So the strength was in materials today, and followed by the transportation stocks and then financials. So what this does is it allows us to get an intraday reading on where the strength is. Now I'm going to go into the materials index, and all I did was I did a right mouse click. Before I forget the question, if you go to your help file and you select what's new, you're going to have the PDF. It's right there. Okay, so I'm going to go in, change to the index group. And now in my files, if you happen to go up to the daily scans, I have two folders here which are called wolf packs. Wolf packs are groups of stocks that are moving together. So if I'll just use the intraday wolf packs, and if I click on this, this is stock wolf packs, stocks and wolf packs that are up today. And what this does is it sorts by industry, and you can see where the strength was. Once again, you can do this anytime during the day. You don't have to wait till the end of the day. What do we have? We have in this materials group, 110 of the stocks are up for the day, and you can see that it was dominated by steel raw materials, precious metal and mining have been strong, base metals, and so on down the list. Now you're going to have some of these stocks that are down also, but you're going to have very few that are down. You can see where the weakness was in the materials index. It was in specialty chemicals and also steel producers. And like I said, you can do this anytime during the day. I don't know how many of you sit there and look at stocks during the day, but if you're curious, if you're looking for potential trades, this is the way to do it. So just use the Wolfpack's view. Hey, George, are you there? He must not be.
No, I'm here.
Okay, I can't get my question box to open. What am I doing wrong here?
Your question box.
Maybe here. Okay, I got it. I'm sorry. You can go back.
Okay.
Do what you're doing.
I'll go back to
Thank
sleep.
you. Okay. Okay, I guess there weren't any questions other than David Elliott's on the PDF. So anyway, George answered it. Anyway, so let's take a look at these materials, and let's get into some of these other views that I've put together here and see if anything comes up. So I'm going to go down here, and I'm going to start with the daily scans. I have made a folder of what I call daily scans. There are many scans here. They all have a purpose, but I'm not going to cover all of them. I'm only going to cover the new ones right now. I'm going to go to these fan formations right now because this is something that I've been using, but I really didn't have the means to get these stacked in the correct order until Matt programmed that in for me. But if I click on bullish VPA signal today, fan long-term bullish, what it does is it goes into my materials group, and I'm in a strong sector, and I am looking for stocks that meet the requirements of the fan, but there's also a VPA flag today. If you notice in this column right here, there is a 0. That's the days since the last VPA signal. Now this is Friday's data. If I wanted to do this intraday, I would have to go, I would have to do an intraday update, a full update. In other words, I would have to run my update just like we do at night. So this, it says intraday data right here. But these signals were actually based upon Friday. Let's take a look at some of these. Unless I did an intraday update by mistake, I don't think I did. Okay, let's, I'm just going to go to my impulse reaction chart. I put some new charts in here with heavier volume bars in here, and this was based upon Friday, and I can you can see that clearly happened. Here is what we have. We have the fan in place. The moving averages are all in the correct sequence, and here was a VPA flag that occurred on Friday. So this stock passed the screen. Now what we have is a stock that I consider being in a long-term uptrend. Why? Because the fan is in place. Even here, when this 18 came down, it did not go down through the 50. So the fan is in place, and whenever there, on this particular screen, whenever there is a VPA flag and these moving averages are in the correct sequence, you're going to get a signal. Now let's find a stock that, okay, here's your signal right here. Why did this fire? Because the 18 is still above the 50 and the 100 is still above the 200. Now if this continues down, this 18 is going to catch this 50 and it will not fire. Now I'm going to take you to a different chart. If you go down and you select the VFB charts. VFB charts are charts which show where these same conditions were met in the past. In other words, the fan is in place and there is a VPA flag. So when I switch to this chart here, we should see a green bar that comes up right here. Let's see if that works. No, it didn't work because okay, I made a mistake. The fan was not in place yet. I just looked at it quickly and you can see that the 200 had not, I'm sorry, the 100 had not yet crossed over the 200, so that VPA signal, even though the VPA flag was there and the volume point of control turned positive, the fan was not in place and the first signal was not generated until right here. Bradley, I'll talk to that. Pat, I sent you an email with the files. If you didn't get it, I will send it afterwards, okay? You don't have to do a full update, Brad. I showed you that. I just went over that a few minutes ago. But, you know, we can talk about that later. Anyway, whenever this occurs, whenever there's a VPA flag and the fan is in place, you're going to get these bars that appear. Now, it happened here, but the way we trade this is if this occurs right here, this has to be taken out with a buy stop or you don't get into the trade. So that trade would not have happened. This trade would have happened, and you know it didn't go very far. This trade right here would have happened right here. It went up a few points, and then it collapsed. I want you to notice what the group is doing. This is why I put group lines in my charts. Because groups are so important to stock movements. That dotted line represents the group. And if it's going up, the group is going up. If it's going down or sideways, I mean, they track, as a rule, that's where I came up with the term wolfpacks, because they have a tendency to run together. And you want to be in the stocks that are the strongest in the group if they're not too extended. So that's all right, Bradley. Maybe we should just have a conversation sometime about that if you're confused about it. Anyway, so that's when these things occur. Let's look at one more stock in here. How about AGU? I'm just doing this on the fly. I have not looked at these stocks. Right here was the first time. You can see in here that the moving averages had not formed the fan yet, and the fan was formed right here as that crossed over. Here is your first signal. Now, at this point, I am doing this fan and requiring a VPA signal. So that doesn't necessarily have to be the case. You can. I'm doing it because the more I work with VPA, the more valuable it becomes to me. It alerts me to potential good trades. So here was a trade right here. The buy point would have been right there. You know, it was good for a few points. Well, this is a more expensive stock, and then it collapsed. But it came down here to the 18. Here's another signal, and then, you know, it ran up. It's like everything else. It's not perfect, but it gives me and people that are using it, it gives us a discipline, something to look, to help screen out stocks. Now, when stocks are loose, I don't pay that much attention to them. I like to look for tighter stocks. This stock here is fairly loose, but you know, if you hit it here and you have a trailing stop in, you're going to make a really good trade here, and then you'll get stopped out or you'll take your profits. Oftentimes you'll find with VPA flags, especially when they get extended, that is when people are getting on late. So this is an effort to rise here, and it was at the top of the run, and look what happened the next day. It opened at the same spot, and then it just reversed. There was a here is an example. Let me say an example of a multiple VPA flag, and look how right on that was. I mean, these were generated at the time. These are not signals that are filled in later. These are happening right now. So what do we have right here? We have a test or no supply. As you can see right up here, the information is always right here when you click on this. That was a no supply, and it came down to the 50, and look what happened here. It shot up with an effort to rise. Volume was not all that great, but it shot up, and now we have what's called an inside day today. So, you know, it may go further. Why do I say that? Because look what the group was doing. Okay. Now let's move. I didn't want to do that. Let me move down back up to this other chart on the impulse reaction with the volume emphasis and the group index. It's number 10 here. The reason I put these charts in this time is I want the ability to move this window up and see what the volume's actually doing. These volume spikes tell us a lot. Okay, let's look right at this area in here. Here is where that the multiple VPA flags went off. What happens is when you get a big bar like this, it's going to skew it. So what I do is I just zoom in until that gets out of the frame, and then I get a much better feel for what the volume is doing. Now we had these let me make this full size so we can see it a little bit better. We have the multiple VPA flags going down, but let me see if I can get that out. Wrong way, sorry about that. Okay, I got it out there. And you can see as it comes down here that the volume is subsiding. We had some relatively heavy volume bars here. And then what do we get here? As it comes down to the 50, this sold off with the group. This is why I say watch the group line. And what happens? The group stabilizes. We get a test for supply. The group starts moving up. As the volume comes, as these sell off, the volume it starts coming down a little bit here. This is why you get a VPA flag, a test for supply, because the selling has stopped. And where does the candle end up? It ends up at the upper part of the daily range. So we're getting some contraction in here. This is expansion to the downside. Here's contraction. This is scary, no question about it. But if we look at the multiple moving averages here, what does it tell us? It tells us that the fan is still intact, this stock is still in a long-term uptrend. And Steve, you can put pivots on there. You can do anything you want to do. I've got all kinds of charts with pocket pivots and so on. You know, I'll just go to a different chart. I want these charts clean. I want to see what the volume's doing, okay? That's why I didn't put anything in here. But sure, you're welcome to do anything you want to with these charts. I just put them out there They're for my use. If you think you want to add pocket pivots, certainly go ahead and do that. But I'm not going to do it on these. I've just got I've got a lot of charts with Gill's pocket pivots and so on. But I just want a clean look at volume here so I can compare current volume to what happened in the past, get an idea of what's going on. Okay, so you can see how I'm using the fan. Do I have any charts with a moving average line in the volume page? Not on these new ones, but you can put one in, Marilyn. I intentionally left on these three charts right here. I intentionally left the moving average out. I just want a clean look at the volume bars. But like I said, just duplicate or do anything you want with. Actually, if you change them, duplicate, because when I do an update, if you just put your moving averages in my charts, what's going to happen is they're going to get overwritten the next time you do an update. So it's up to you, though. I mean, it's just how I'm working or using this information. It's up to you, though. Okay, so let's get back to some more of these. So what I did here is I went to my strongest sector today, and I'm looking for stocks that are potential trades based upon the exponential moving averages. You can see the groups that are over here, and most of the steals were not good today, but there was one GGB. We talked about this on the bulletin board. For the people that have taken the webinar, we have a Skype room, and there's quite a bit of activity on there. You know, we talk about stocks and so on. So if you haven't taken the webinars, I'm going to try to start one here in February, and but I don't want to discuss that right now. So let's take one more. Let's look at a well-known stock here in this group, Louisiana Pacific. See how this one looks. You can see that, well, okay. Now see, this is a good example. This is Friday's data. So here is where the flag was generated, and look what happened today. It crossed the 18, went down through the 50. So even though there is a test for supply today, this went negative. So after I do tonight's update, this stock will not be showing up as a candidate. Now in the future, when I build more on this, and I did about as much as I had time to do, we will be able to put screens in here to locate stocks or ETFs or whatever that are dipping down below the 50-day moving average. The 18 is going down below the 50-day moving average, and it's a potential trade. But you know, this stock here, it's had one, two, three, four lower lows. The trend is down at this point, as you can see. In my opinion, it came down to the 200. It's finding support at the 200, but it will not show up through this screen tonight. The only reason it's showing up is because this is Friday's data. Okay? Any questions about that? I'm going to go to all securities, get away from the broad market indices. The fastest way to get to all securities is to hold your alternate key and hit your space bar. And that will take you to the all securities folder. And this would be Friday's information once again. Or still, I shouldn't say once again. So you can see the stocks that passed on Friday, the ones that have green in this column, they were up today. Now we were talking, I was in Yandex the other day. I got stopped out of it. I bought it on what was an inside day right there, and it went up. I thought I was going to make some money on this, and I lost a few dollars on it. And then, of course, what happens? There was an upgrade from somebody. So that's one of the frustrations of trading stocks. And it started going up again. So this meets the definition of, or I'm sorry, it passes the filter. And maybe I should, I have not done this yet. Let's go in and take a look at this filter. This is a filter. Everything I do, I build upon what I've already done rather than repeating the process. So when this VPA came out over a year ago, Matthew put all these signals in, or flags, and I just built a filter. If any of these conditions happen, signal conditions or descriptions, and they're in a group, the group rank greater than 0, then it will pass the filter. That's because of these OR statements over here. And then the last close and the 90-day moving average volume, we use 90 days because the VPA flags are based upon 90-day volume. And here is the new field right here. It's all coded into the program. If you want to experiment with it, build your own, just go in and locate EMA fan uptrend equals yes. And that will make sure that your stocks, the stocks you're looking at, are in what I consider a long-term uptrend because everything is stacked. So Yandex, should have gotten back into it, kind of forgot about it to tell you the truth. And it looks like it's setting up to go again. This is today, right here. Volume was not all that great. Yesterday, though, there was no supply, the sign of strength. Why was there no supply? Well, you go down here to this volume bar, and you can see that volume was very light at this point. So it is generating, and it didn't move very much, so it's generating a no supply. Did not get a flag today, but you can see that it opened here, traded down to here, reversed, traded up to here. It's right at a, well, I didn't do a very good job on that. It's right at a point right here where if it breaks past that, it could be a buy. Let's take a look at a different chart here. Just drop down to this one with the group index. This is why I like the group. This does not represent, well, that was the group on Friday, so you know, it looks like the group's going up too. Put that one in your watch list and watch it tomorrow, or if the market holds together, I may even just go ahead and buy that if it takes out today's high plus a few cents. Some other things it's got going for it other than the fan, the VPOC, the 1010, which is volume point of control based upon a 10-day period. It is also green. And that's one more thing you always have to check is the earnings date. And you open up the fundamental panel, and it's always located right here. There's no need to worry about the earnings because that's a month away. Okay? Now, if this tanks tomorrow, don't hold me responsible because you're going to have your stops in place, or your stop in place, I know. But I kind of like it now because it's right here. There's resistance here, across here. If it can break past there and we get some volume on it, it's got a good chance to go. Check the group out tonight. See if the group continued up today. Looking at this, these estimates are no good. When it says minus 100, we don't have the estimates. Just don't pay any attention to that. You can see that there is some earnings growth compared to the same quarters a year ago. Not spectacular, not considered a growth stock. So if this is a play, it is probably going to be a play on what the group is doing. The group rank is only 56, but this is based upon like 6 months with I believe it's 70% of the emphasis on the last 3 months. So the group rank number lags. That's why I like to look at the group index in the chart, because you get a visual of what's happening now. Okay? All right, so that's to the upside. I'm going to move on. This is to the downside. And these are stocks that are exhibiting fans to the downside. Now that's a $1.23 stock. We're not real interested in that one. Here is a $72 stock, which is showing stopping volume today. But you can see that this stock has been in a long-term downtrend. Let's bring that, or let me bring that chart up again. Down here, the VFB. And whenever the green bars occurred, that's when these conditions were met. This would have been a great trade here. This one drifted sideways and then broke. This one went up. This one would have been a decent trade. This one you would have not been in because it reversed and went up. And it's a little bit late right here probably. We're getting a doji and stopping volume. But once again, what am I looking at? Look at the group line. Group's going down here. It's going down here. It was going up here, going down here, going up here, and it solidified, and then the group collapsed. So pay attention to what the group is doing, whatever you do. There are exceptions. There are always exceptions. But I think if you stick to concentrate on what the group is doing, it will be helpful. Now, this one here, this is a stock. See, I said there are always exceptions. Here's an exception. The group's going up, this stock's going down. And it right here is where the fan didn't come into effect until there, late in the game on this one, and then it bounced back. Not a good example. But you'll find plenty of good examples, plenty of good trades just by using this view right here. You're looking for expansion into contraction, and then you are looking to get in when the expansion returns. Let me see if I can find a good example of that. I'm just going to have to grab one and see what's going on here. Let's take this. That's a REIT. That's a bank. We'll look at this bank, see what it looks like. Okay. You can see that it was going down. The group started moving up here. The banks, since the election, have been extremely strong. You see the volume point of control turned positive, clear down here at the bottom. There were multiple efforts to rise, and then it kind of stalled out here with the group, and as the group continued up, this stock did too. The fan did not generate a signal until this point. So this would be expansion, this would be contraction, and then you'd want to be looking. You wouldn't have gotten in the next day because it opened clear down here. The logical place to buy this would have been above this point right here, but here you're looking to get in on expansion again. This may not be a real good example. It's got really long tails on here and so on, kind of a loose chart. I just grabbed that as an example though, but that's primarily what we do. Let's see, Marilyn has a question. Yeah, generally, her question is, the the top ones on the list to be above the group line and the weakest ones to be below the group line in the warehouse. Generally, yes, that's the case. The thing about this group line is it's a private scale because we're scaling over here to the price of the stock. So what I do is I look for general direction. What you're asking is if I go into a group and if the index is in here, I think this is what you're asking, will the ones above the index be stronger than the ones below? Let me take the filter off. I'll hold my shift key and I'll hit my space bar. I'll just type in index. And the bank's index is right here at number 41. Generally, yes, these are going to be the stronger ones above there. Let's just take a look. Well, not in that case, is it?
Well, it also depends on what you sorted the warehouse on. I mean,
okay,
not every field has the same meaning.
Here's the problem, Matt. This is not the problem. Here's what the sort is. Thank you for saying that. This is industry percentage price change one day. So I don't have a combo in here. What I would do in an instance like this, Marilyn, is I would go in and get a different combo. I would look at my demand combo for the end of the day because this sort didn't do anything. Okay, now let's see what we have here. Now this is based upon demand, and now you're going to find the strongest stocks at the top of the list. Let me find the banks again, or the index. Now it's clear down at number 259. So that made a tremendous difference, obviously. But the ones above that index generally are going to be the strongest. But what I would do is what I just did. I would go in and get a different combo. If you look up here and you see what the sort was, and it was all on, everything was sorted according to the industry percentage price change in one day, which had absolutely no effect. So I go in and I look for what I call a power type combo, and this combo is essentially the same combo that I use for my stocks and groups moving to the upside and so on, but I'm also putting some intraday fields in here also. And Paul says the scorecard works. Yeah, the scorecard works because if you go into the top-down view, I have the scorecard in here. If you just go to the scorecard, it's got a stocks and groups moving to the upside with a volume point of control combo. You'll get a little different results, but you're going to find these strong stocks at the top of the list. A lot stronger than if we go to the bottom, which will find stocks that are much weaker. Now I'm using that VPA chart, so that's why it's all green. But anyway, I hope that answered your question. You just have to really be aware of, what the combo is, but do what Paul says. Just go in, use the scorecard view, sort on raw combo. You're going to find some of the stronger stocks at the top of the list, and also you're going to find the scorecard information over here. The EPS rank, the relative strength rank, the group rank, and so on, okay? All right, now where was I? Let me get back here. Boy, where does the time go? I've been talking for an hour already. Okay, I want to point out one thing here that I'm going to go to the industry groups here. I like to go top down. I think that's the best way to prospect, but it's more time consuming. So that's why I put all these daily scans in here. So I know a lot of people do not want to bother with top down, but if you don't have a feel for the market and the groups and the sectors and so on, I think you're at a disadvantage. But that's entirely up to you. You can also scan for stocks based upon these other things, fan formations and so on, and then you can just go backwards. You can go from bottoms up first and then look at the group and see the relationship of the group. I want to point out that you can also use these fans on the industry groups. You can see that steel raw materials, only 7 groups as of Friday passed the bullish VPA signal today. Let's just bring up one of these. And look at this. This is the VFB. This is where the steel raw materials supplier index was meeting the criteria. You can see that clear back here, the fan was in position, and these are where the flags or the criteria were met. In other words, the VPA signals or flags and also the fan were in the correct position, and you can see that there have been multiple instances of this. And then if you're going top down, not always, but often, you can go top down and you can find the stocks that are meeting the VPA fan criteria. And here is one BBL that has had several signals recently. Had one well, no, that can, yes, it is correct. I almost said it wasn't correct, but it is correct because this 18 is still above the 50, and these are in order. And what did we get? We got a, let me click on this, and you can see a no supply, a sign of strength, right there at the very bottom. So that would have been a signal right there as a possible trade, and it worked out. Here, the next day, there was a negative signal, but the fan's still intact, and look what happened with this stock. I think if you experiment with these views and these scans, you're going to find many opportunities with stocks that have pulled back and are setting up again. Let's look at one more stock, and then I got to move on here. Once again, this one is still in a long-term uptrend according to my criteria. The moving averages are all still in sequence. Now look at this group. This is going up. This is a relatively weak stock. But what do we have here? We have stopping volume. Why is it stopping volume? Because the volume is heavy, and look where the intraday range of this candle is. It's about halfway up. And then there was some buying again today. Just for fun, put this one in your watch list, see what it does tomorrow. It's a weak stock. I'm not interested in taking this stock right now, but just see if this stopping volume holds up tomorrow. See if this starts building a base and starts to follow the group. Okay, but just remember, you can apply these views to the indexes also. None came up as bearish. As I go down through this list, here's a couple more screens. This is for early entry or after a pullback when a group or a stock may start moving again. This is the 3-day exponential moving average up through the 6-day moving average. I'm just going to leave it on the groups, and I'm going to change to the industry group. See, no stocks come up on this right here. Only the index did. Now, if I go back up to this one and look at the long-term fan bullish, you can see that 4 stocks pass this criteria. Let's just take a look at JP Morgan. Okay, now the bank sold off after earnings, but they are finding support right now. This is a tricky market. Nobody really knows what's going to happen. with the new president in place. You could see how nervous the market was today. But what am I seeing here? I am seeing a fan in place. I'm seeing a group that is holding up. I'm seeing multiple VPA flags. It's a potential trade. Yes, here was an effort to fall on heavier volume. Let's go back to this other flag. What am I doing here? Here's what I'm looking for. Let's just go to this one right here. This one right here. And you can see why I just want some charts with volume bars only. I want to see what the volume's doing. The volume is drying up. It sold off. This was your volume spike right here. The selling pressure is coming off of this stock. We are getting multiple VPA flags. The last 2 days have closed in the upper part of the trading range. Put JP Morgan in your watch list. Watch it tomorrow. See what it does. See if the banks are going to hold. We have the groups going up. The VPOC 1010 also turned positive. So you can see that I'm going top down here. That's what I like to do, but you certainly don't need to do that. Okay, I'm going to quickly go back to all securities here. Let's go to the 3 going up through the 6 on all securities. Now we have 58 securities that passed this today. And we know it's today because once again this column is all zeros, or this was Friday, I'm sorry, not today, and these were stocks with the 3 going up through the 6. And how do you know that? You go over to this column right here. It's a days since the 3 crossed the 6. Everything is either a 0 down to a 2 because I allowed a 3-day window on this. Okay? So let's just take a look at what do we have here? We have REITs and banks. Let's take a look at this one, which is up nicely today. Now I need to go to a chart with the 3 crossing up through the 6. And you can see that right here, it happened on Friday. The 3 is the green line, the 6 is the blue line, and the red line is the 18. So this is a shorter term screen to potentially get into a trade. It happened here also, moved up, didn't go too far, and now we're getting another one, but we also have multiple VPA flags. We had an effort to rise today. Here is where the signal was generated here on Friday, and this turned out to be a good trade today. These VPA flags, they don't always work, but boy, they certainly work enough, more than enough, to be extremely valuable when we combine them with moving average crossovers and long-term trend lines. It just gives us a lot more insight into what's happening. Okay, I got to move on. I'm sorry. Well, I'm gonna go to 5. I was only going to go an hour, but I can never do one of these things in an hour. So let's go ahead and look at some other stuff right now that I've done. The chart pattern scans. Now this is something I put in. This is not programmed in like the wedge and pennant patterns are. It's just something that I put in there because I had the ability to do this, and an inside day can be a very powerful formation. If you catch a stock that has been moving up and then it pauses for a day, and let me go back to that VFB. I always wonder if I'm going to have enough to talk about in these sessions, and I never have enough time. Hope you don't mind staying on till 5. But this was an inside day, and when the high is taken out, that is an entry point, and your stop would be just below the inside day. It's inside this. I call it an inside day because it's inside the range of the prior day's candle. Now this one didn't work out, but you may have taken it. But what I like to see is I actually like to see a white candle prior to the inside day, which means that the short-term trend is moving up. Like here was a white candle. Here's your inside day. It's inside this one, and then it's moving up. Let's see if I can find something other than Mohawk Industries. How about Canadian Pacific Railroad? Here was an inside day on Friday. Buy points just above that. Your stop would be clear down here below the low of the inside day. Here's a good example of an inside day here. Had a white candle the prior day, and then the buy points just above the high, a couple of cents above the high of that inside day, and that would have been an excellent trade right there. So this is something that you should be looking at also. An inside day is really, as Ian used to say, just a pause to refresh, except it's a very short pause. Let's take a look at Lowe's here. Now, you know, this stock is not trending up. Okay, now here's what I'll have to do. I do not have this in place yet, but I will create an inside day and also add the requirements that the fan has to be in place. That way I'm not spending time looking at stocks like this, although, you know, if you'd taken this trade today, you'd be ahead on it. I just, maybe next month I'm going to add that. There's all kinds of things that we can do now that we have these new fields intact. Now let me quickly go down here to the pennant and wedge bullish. These, you can see that very few come up here. What I did is I put all the different versions in here. I'm not going to go through all these because we don't have time to do that. But what I did is I put a combined view in here. So number 12 is a combined view, and you can sort on these, and you can look for the 4-bar, in this instance, 4-bar power pennant or 4-bar wedge. Look at the help file if you're unsure as to what they are. These are variations of the pennant. These would be a 5-bar, and what I really like to see is, the reason I put this VPOC 1010 column in is I want to see if we're getting a long signal. I'd like to see the VPOC on the positive side. Now this is in a group that really has not been doing well, biotech, but let's just take a look at this one and see if it makes any sense. You can see that here is the pennant or the wedge is down here, but this stock's in a downtrend. This is, and look what happened today. The VPOC went from positive to negative down here. But this would have to break to the upside before you would ever take that trade. So I'm going to be doing more work with these. I have not had a chance to do a lot of work yet, but they're going to prove useful down the road. You're just not going to get a lot of prospects right now. But like I said, if I add those moving average requirements, then we're going to be seeing stocks in trends that are forming pennants or wedges, and we will not spend time looking at stocks that are really not candidates. Same thing on you can see there's only one stock on each of these 4-bar pennants right now under all securities, and then on the combined I loosened the criteria a little bit. I took out the VPOC requirement but I can see the column right here. I don't want to look for bearish patterns where the VPOC is positive. So that's just a very quick run through on that. One more thing that I want to talk about is for those of you who are in the Insider Club, in the Designer, I had you build or add a folder, and it's called My Smart Groups. And there's a reason for this. Every time, if you go to the same smart groups all the time, rather than going up here and looking around for your groups, if you have some favorite groups, all you have to do is create this group, and I'm going to edit the group, and then you go into the group indexes, you locate the smart groups that you want, and you just click on Add. Now when I do a full update tonight, this date will change from 120 to 123. So these will be current smart groups. And the reason for doing that is to save time and to stay focused. So let me quickly go here to my daily scans. I want to go to top down. I use this view right here under the top down process view. Some of you, you said your groups weren't showing up because you had a filter on. Well, if you go to this view, it will not be a problem. The filter's intact, and what this does is it is going to, if you sort on raw combo, it's going to look for the smart groups that are in a strong trend up. Here's the best of Woodward and Brown as of Friday. You just change to the index group, and you can see what was in here. Now, here's HIIQ. This was an extended stock, and you can see what happened to it. Let me get a different chart here. Daily charts. What do I want here? I'll go back to this one. Okay, beautiful fan formation from clear back here. Right here is where it started. No VPA signal on that one. The VPA was back here before the fan really materialized. Here is another one. You can see it pulled back to the 18 and it took off. This stock, you know, the numbers and everything look good on it, but if you go online and look at information about the company, there are not any positive comments about the company. But still, we're talking technicals here, and we are looking for fans and so on. This one came up in the best of Woodward and Brown because what the best of Woodward and Brown does is it goes in to all of the Woodward and Brown smart groups, and it pulls out the 10 stocks which appear most often. And that's the way it works, and it puts them here in a folder. So if I want a quick read on where the strength was for that day, I can now just go to this folder number 18, My Smart Groups. I can click on Change to Index Group, and I get an instant read on the top 10 stocks that appeared most often. It doesn't mean you go out and buy them, but you're going to find some winners in here occasionally. Let's just see what these stocks did today. Here's the percentage price change. Vale, V-A-L-E, this is a stock that's been coming up with this scan that I've been talking about with the moving averages stacked, and it was up another 4.79% today. Here is where the signal occurred with that fan. How do I know that? Because the fan was intact. Here's a bullish VPA flag. That's an effort to rise. Volume was coming into the stock. The VPOC was positive. The group was going up. It had all the components of a stock that was going higher. I did not buy this stock. I know Paul Reike got into it, and some other people got into it, and it's a beautiful chart. look at that group, the group support. Everything was here. And this came up in Best of Woodward and Brown on Friday. It would have been good. Well, you know, it gapped open today. It's getting extended now, but the group is still going. So this is why I wanted, or I suggested that you make your own smart group folder, and then you can just come in here. Here's the leaders. If you're interested in the top 25 growth stocks based upon these smart groups, here they are right here. And it can narrow your it'll take less time if you follow certain groups. Now down here, let me talk about these. These are the stocks and groups moving to the upside and to the downside. These are truncated. We don't get the whole thing in here, but if you change to the index group, you can see that this is the 1 to 15 group. And these are the stocks that were appearing on Friday. I always look at these groups. Now, how do you know which are the stocks and groups going down? Because they're going to have D or E distribution here. Even though these are truncated, you look over here and you see an E or a D, you know those are the stocks and groups going to the downside. So I think that if you work with these and if you concentrate upon a few smart groups, that you will find that can be very helpful. Let me see if there are any questions here. I know I covered a lot and I didn't cover everything I wanted to. How's that? Okay, let me. Yes, Bradley, I would delete the other views if you're getting the insider views because I will, when I start doing my next webinar series, I'm going to be using these views and I'll be adding to them also. Any questions or have you had enough of me? Thanks, Steve. Time for dinner, that's right. Okay, well, thank you for sticking around. I did not, thanks, George. I really didn't mean to go this long, but I always have more to talk about than I think I do, so yeah, well, we'll work on that, Payush. Thanks, everybody. I like doing these, and I hope you enjoy listening to them. Anyway, thank you very much, and we're going to call it a day.